Hello and welcome to this very pointless video. But I had fun doing it, so I will get straight to the point. I'm trying to do this very quickly. I have this thing where I started. There was a huge thing of speaking. I mean, a comment and a ton of replies. In fact, someone actually was in between of these replies, but I decided to not include him because I thought that it would have been unnecessary, and also, well, this person was defending me, but it doesn't matter really. I don't want to get this person involved in this shitty conversation, but I will talk about this person called Artandi, which is clearly a very old man, a very old and unwise man, older yet not wiser. But anyways, it's at last, in one of his paragraphs, he says that he's pure passion about Genesis and whatever. But the thing is that I was talking about the band, Peter and Steve not being that far off from the band, and then saying that Tony and Steve didn't hate each other as much. And this person took what I said and got it in a totally different direction. This person says, I think some balance is needed here, buddy, because your disregard for the obvious conflicts Tony created within the band are a misrepresentation of reality. Who are you? Tony's new agent? I wouldn't suggest that Peter left Genesis because of Tony, because Peter is a hard nut and because Tony couldn't get his way and misbehaved like a child are absolutely legendary. Well-documented mood swings. He marched silently out of rehearsal. Left to Tony, there would have been no vocals on Apocalypse in 9/8, and consequently, the climax would have been a damp squib compared to the masterpiece it was once Peter got hold of it. So, I classified every paragraph from here on. This paragraph I classified as baseless bullshit. I also added a commentary saying, legendary? You were there? Also, he has always said that he approved of the Apocalypse in 9/8 thing. At first he wasn't sure, but he approved of that. Well, next paragraph. Tony took his eye off the ball during the recording of Selling England by the Pound, and afterwards resented the fact that there was so much guitar on it, which he clearly always considered to be a secondary instrument to his array of keyboards. As mere songwriting the band co-founder, he was entitled to dominate the playing too. He made sure that never on the subsequent 3 Genesis albums, and eventually Steve was squeezed out. Squeeze my hog. Well, the thing is that I'm now Solid Snake. No, that was a very bad impression. Well, I classified this paragraph as baseless and have never heard of this one at all. And this same paragraph is the one that the person defending me in that sense speak the most about, or at least what I managed to read of that. I didn't read the whole thing. I love your casual justification for the fact that Steve was virtually excluded on One for the Vine by suggesting Tony could have perfectly asked him not to play on it. That's wrong, because I said Steve played One for the Vine, a song solely written by Tony Banks, and even though Steve was still in the band, Tony could have perfectly asked him to not play it, but he didn't. Well, it's still understandable why it can be misinterpreted, but what I tried to say is that Steve is playing it live right now, or on his tours, on his latest tours. That's what I'm trying to say. And he played One for the Vine, and Tony Banks could have asked him, don't play my song. I'm not saying playing to not play on it. I'm saying to not play it. To not play it later in the day. When and Whether it wasn't supposed to be a Tony Banks album. Tony's pathetic, childish greed in coming to rehearsals with a virtually completed song, and with Miss Piggy keeping all the best bits for herself, is one of the best examples of Tony's appalling bad manners. and lack of empathy towards others. The other two didn't speak up more for Steve because Steve doesn't have a mouth. Clearly, Steve had nothing more to lose, so he left and tossed on bank salad in the process. Well, I classify this one as baseless, insulting, and uninformed. Clearly, haven't watched a documentary on how the band works at all, because the band could have just presented entire songs without any problems. Peter Gabriel had Harold the Barrel, and so on. But the band chose to mix and match stuff if they wanted to. And One for the Vine was accepted, but the thing is that Tony took a year to make it, and it was a thing that took a lot of time to get accepted. Actually, the same goes for Fear of Fifth. Steve Hackett could have waited, but for what's the name of the track? Please Don't Touch. But anyways, well, he still had to wait a lot for a few of the tracks released on his first solo albums, because he had to wait for like 2 albums. Tony also had to wait for 2 albums and then got accepted. Well, anyways, next paragraph. I love that song, but Tony only has 2 hands. What? So by depriving Steve of the decent guitar part in it, it also deprived the world of hearing it live. Certainly up to the period of So, because I neither care or know what Genesis did after Steve left and they became a synth band. That's funny. I classify this one as shot himself on the foot, because it took a while, because you don't get that impression from all this talking or speaking, writing, bars, that he is one of those that hates Phil Collins or whatever. But by reading this, I'm like, yeah, this is the kind of person. I mean, it was kind of obvious because he only talks about Steve, but it's too obvious. So here he shoots himself in the foot. Shoot. So this is terrible. But the next one is this. I think most Genesis fans love The Lamb, A Trick of the Wind. Was one improbable treat, and for it will be that they all feature much more of Steve's guitar and much less of Tony's bloody synthesizer. Badly written and bloody censored. Why? Well, this one I called it subjective, and that's your opinion, mate. I have to say that Tony has shown some signs of maturity in recent years. Ironic. I think even he realizes what a pain in the neck he was to his friends and colleagues as a young man. Maybe he needed that friction in personal relationships to boost his ego and to produce such marvelous writing. Who knows? Maybe it's all history now, but you can't such sit here and read your self-deluded propaganda, man, on behalf of Tony Banks, without thinking you have been living in a parallel universe since 1971. Well, I am on a parallel universe, but I was born in 1994, so... Well, I didn't read anything of what this person said. I actually read this, and then I replied, I'm not talking for anyone here. I really don't like speculating. I'm deflating the situation because I'm pretty sure it's not all like all the things people comment, because people really love to speculate and overblow conflicts when there is none. You are the one sounding like a fly on the wall telling me this. And I also said something about Jimmy Smith, and this person said, your quotation from Jimmy Smith is anything but placatory, but I have added some balance to this conversation, which is what I set out to do. Fans can believe what they want. And I said, I'm pretty sure that you would have been great friends with Jimmy Smith. I took the time to read your whole rant, and I can conclude that it was a waste of time, but also that you hate Genesis. So let's back up a little bit, because I read his whole rant. And I gave a conclusion and instantly wrote this huge paragraph, so I will read it. That is on my 100 computer. You hate Tony Banks on a personal level without even watching or reading much about the band. Not only that, but dismiss everything after Steve left. That truly sounds like propaganda to me. Propaganda man. Nice Ray Wilson reference. I get people getting fumed over entertainment though. It's the place where you want to go. When everything is shitty and wrong with the world, suddenly when they do a misstep, you feel betrayed by them. Disney Pixar have been on a roll lately, but that's because they are trash that tries to bait you in something bigger anyway. But this is Genesis, the band with a flower man, an inflatable penis, illegal aliens, and erectile dysfunction jokes. It's entertainment, and all the rest is personal. They are so awkward on interviews that they can and will surely slip something they don't have to say and then get flagged for that. Who cares really? Is it a marketing strategy or is the band really not that self-conscious? Other bands look really great on the press and years have to pass until you see the reality of the situation. Anyways, I just have to ask, are you here for the drama or for the music? Is this drama entertaining to you? That last one you don't have to answer. It clearly is. Your reply accomplished nothing besides this unnecessary reply. I could have let this one low-hanging fruit easily slip by me, and even me doing this video probably accomplishes nothing. But I can at least say that I definitely had more fun than you. I don't like the backbone of this video, but the process was fun. So a lesson for everyone. Talking is fun, right? But sometimes you just stop and question what you're saying, because you see people speculating all over. I think that the only factual thing we can say comes from personal experiences. Try to be more humble next time. When I talk with in real life people, when I cite something I didn't experience, I say, this thing I read or this thing I found on the internet, and I instantly establish that what I am saying could be the truth or not. And I guess that everyone on the internet needs a lesson on humility and not deep shitness. So that's my replay. That's on my 100 computer that I will throw away to the trash because I need another one. No, I'm joking. That's my second computer. And this person, well, I actually didn't replay this to Artanti, but he still replayed a huge thing 10 hours later. And he said, I was prepared to give you the last word because you at least claimed that you were deflated in this situation. Oh my god, I'm joking. Even if beforehand you were accusing those that had opinions contrary to your own as lying. Not very friendly. I told you. Sorry. I just wanted to give some balance to the discussion. Liar. However, now you're enjoying your second wind and Wuthering, even though you are regressed to childhood at the same time with your silly point scoring accusations about hating Genesis and accusing people of ranting. You have managed to rattle my cage despite all my rage in the cage. A rant, by the way, is simply an argument that one person makes that others don't want to hear. But in a world where we have to hold on to the freedoms of speech, of free speech, with all our might, I really wonder about your intellectual level, if you resent others from expressing their opinions. And I have to answer to this, the answer that I have to this paragraph is, welcome to the internet, bitch! Well, anyways, this is where it gets a little personal for this person. It's very difficult for people of my generation, just a few years younger than Genesis themselves, to appreciate that we no longer entirely speak for Genesis fans as we once did. Okay? Fandom are constantly being created and they have their own voice. For years, my generation have sung the praises of Genesis, and to a great extent, we have been proved right, and Genesis have been listened to more. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but Genesis surely weren't listened to more because of you, so I'm truly sorry. I feel like I have done more in that case for Genesis than you in your whole life probably. And you are old. Well, that's because of the internet, of course. Well, the reputation of early Genesis among music fans that want their intelligence to be challenged today is probably greater than it's ever been. Why? Why does it matter? Why intelligence? What are you saying? You don't... I almost said something fucked up. Well, Genesis to me have been great education, getting me interested in literature and forms of classical music, just as the Baroque. I owe them almost everything. Well, good for you, dude. Good for you. Now tell me, you read books? Clearly a nerd. No, I'm joking. I first saw Genesis live along with Lindisfarne, their label stable mates in 1972 at the QAH in London. It's Lindisfarne that I principally went to see, but as soon as I bought NC afterwards, what I would have seen live suddenly, NC's nursery rhyme, suddenly fell into place, and I was hooked. That enthusiasm lasted until Steve left the band, and when Peter Gabriel left Genesis, I was so shocked I nearly shat my pants. Sorry. And devastated by the news, it became the biggest artistic crisis of my life and caused months of depression. Sorry. When I look back now, it seems like way too much melodrama. But I was young then, and I'm old now. Well, this is the thing. One of the things that I'm going to say in a new video is that thanks to some some Peter Gabriel fans of the early Genesis, I almost never heard A Trick of the Tail and Without Wuthering, and thanks to the Steve Hackett fans, I almost never listened to And Then There Were Three and Duke, so fuck you. So for you to turn to people that have grown up with Genesis, read the contemporary music press at the school which existed in England at the time. At the school? Like Melody Maker, Sounds, and the NME. NME. What's that one? I don't remember. Well, the thing is, I have read them. And the interviews with band members therein assimilated that information and moreover lifetime of interest and then assume we know nothing is profoundly stupid. Disagree if you want, but keep your cheap shots to yourself. Thanks, I can always presume that you will grow out of that. And I answered without reading anything, touch grass. And this idiot answered, I would rather smoke it. Oh no. And I said, your long rants literally help no one, not the band, nor prog or music in general, not even your own time or mine, and they aren't even true, so why bother? You want me to make a video on you? And here we are. No, I'm sorry, it's still. I find it difficult to understand how someone with your stunted intellect ever had the imagination to get into Genesis in the first place. I can only assume that it's via Phil's solo albums, ... And I answered, weak bait, and this is where it ends. So, this person insulted my intelligence, knowing damn well that I have a small Latin American brain, so that's very sad. No, I'm joking. I always said that for some reason, but the thing is that your stunted intellect and also, what's the other one? About your intellectual level. I really wonder about your intellectual level. If you resent others from expressing their opinions. I never resented you. I'm telling you, fuck you right now, because I don't give a shit about your life. I'm sorry. Because I like to be edgy at times. You have managed to rattle my cage despite all my rage. I was joking, but it's still. I don't resent you expressing your opinions. I could have just walked over this. I could have just not done this video, not read this. But I thought that it was a perfect time to just have this sample of a person and plaster it all over, well, not on a video, to explain what I'm trying to say when I talk about the Steve Hackett fans or all of that. So now you know. It's people that are very resented, and it's really sad. Those people are the kind of people that just stopped caring about Genesis, and they think that they are doing them a favor by saying, no, don't listen to that shit, you're a poser, listen to Wind and Wuthering and Trick of the Tail. or that Steve Hackett, the band has kicked Steve Hackett out of the band, they kicked him on the balls or something. That doesn't help at all. This entire thing doesn't help at all. What's you're trying to accomplish, it doesn't help. You should just, instead of talking about problems that you are clearly inventing and speculating and also misreading me, you should give a solution. You should be like, oh, you like Land of Confusion? You should you should listen to a Squonk or something. That helps. My videos, people have told me that they help, that they have motivated them to investigate more songs, like the Battle of Epping Forest. And you got Epping Forested again. So let me find this thing, the Epping Forested again beat. Wait a minute, it's coming. Yes, that's how I will end this video. You got Epping Forested again? Oh, how funny. It's still funny to this day.